Welcome to the Predictive Playbook. I am John Ryan, your host, and I'm pleased and honored to have Kiev O'Neil as our guest for college basketball breakdown of the tournament. He has a spot called oddspreaders.com. It's the number one place to get your sharp information, sports betting and wager metrics, and winning information. So welcome to the show, Kiev. I'm glad you could make it today, and I'm just like ready to jump out of my shoes now. With every hour, we get closer and closer and closer. But there's a lot of news going on too, and most recently the Moses Wright at Georgia Tech, and I know you know a lot about that situation. And I'll let you take it from here.
Well, it's unfortunate because I actually did like Georgia Tech at the +3, and that was one of my early plays because I thought Loyola was a misseed. First of all, they were misseeded. Both of them were misseeded in the 8 and 9. I thought Loyola should have been a 5, and I thought Georgia Tech should have been a 4. So I guess flip them is what you
Absolutely.
say. Ken Pom has Loyola a top 10 team, which would be a 3 seed, which I disagree in. And Georgia Tech, I think, is a little bit better than people thought. But Moses Wright came positive for COVID, and he's asymptomatic. And so it doesn't matter if you're asymptomatic or not. You have to sit. And it sounds like he's stuck for the whole weekend here of not being able to play. And what a terrible position did both these teams get, having to face Illinois in that side of the bracket. Imagine being someone in Chicago that's just a college basketball fan. You're probably rooting for Northwestern, the Illini, and Loyola. And then now you're thinking Loyola's got this huge chance to get back to the Final Four. You think Illinois can win the championship, and they're stuck in the same exact side. What an absolute bummer for them. So there's been a line reaction, obviously. It went from 3 to 2. Then it started creeping back up to 3, and it scratched my head a little bit because I'm like, oh, people are jumping all over the public Loyola. And then I was like, something's off here. It's getting to 3.5. So some people knew this information before it really was made public. And then all of a sudden it was made more public, and it's at 5, 5.5, 6. And so, you're seeing the line about 5.5 right now. I like Georgia Tech at +3, and I think I had Georgia Tech at about -3 favorite. It was a pretty big discrepancy for me. But now with the Moses Wright injury, he's their number one player. He was the ACC Player of the Year. I'm going to deduct him 2.5 points. And I think the market's overreacted a little bit on that. I don't think this should be past 5. As a matter of fact, I even like this. I still like them because Georgia Tech's in a much tougher conference. And Loyola, when they did step up in competition against teams like my Badgers and a couple other ones, Richmond, I believe, they lost. And they didn't really – I don't think the Missouri Valley's all that this year. Now, Cameron Krutwig's a fantastic player, and that's the problem. Wright was going to guard Cameron Krutwig. So I don't know what Josh Pastner is going to do about that, and I think that they're going to probably have to double team him a little bit and try to come off of him. But what Loyola's been doing is when he gets double teamed, they pass off and shoot a 3. So we'll see how accurate they can be on this neutral court. But right now at 5.5, I would still bet Georgia Tech, in my opinion.
Yeah, it brings up an interesting topic too, and I'm not a names guy necessarily, looking at each individual player, more numbers, as you know, but in the case of Georgia Tech and any of these teams, they lose a guy. And I always think that there's got to be 2 or 3 4-star recruits or near 4-star recruits that are just dying to get into the game and showcase their talents, if nothing else, for the coach to see for next season's lineup.
Oh, yeah.
So I agree with what you're saying there, that the added points makes it more attractive to you to take Georgia Tech.
When a player comes out, that team becomes a play-on team for the next game usually, because the other players will step up and play out of their minds. It's just a human nature thing. If my best teammate's down, it's like, well, I'm going to show everybody. You think to yourself, I'm going to make sure that we're still good type thing, right? And that definitely goes to the regular season. And I think it does for the NCAA tournament here, because they're already not favored. It's not often when there's a Power 5 team that just won their championship game that's not favored against a group of 5 or the Missouri Valley, just a lesser conference, right? So I could see Georgia Tech getting some points here.
Yeah, I like it.
By the way, before I forget, it's John's birthday today. John Ryan, happy birthday. Oh my goodness, we have a March Madness birthday going on. Hopefully you win all of your plays this whole weekend, John.
Oh, guaranteed. Guaranteed. Yeah, it's a crazy time of the year for me. Like I was talking to a buddy, I'll just say this really quick. About St. Patrick's Day, and when you're in the 20s, or even before that, that's a big party day, right? But I was, back in the day, and obviously a long time ago, in a far, far away place. No, I'm just kidding. But I was an All-American swimmer, and nationals were always on this weekend. So, I would go 3-4 months, no party, no nothing. It was in my scholarship. And it kind of carried over. Like, I don't look at St. Patrick's Day as a reason to, like, celebrate ahead of my birthday and make it a 2-day, whatever it be called. And plus, now I'm too old to drink that much 2 days in a row.
So you're not going on a binger tonight, is what
a binger? That's the word. Yeah. Nope. Nope.
I'm sure there's plenty of us will do that for you. I'm sure, but
good. That's good to know. Absolutely, I appreciate that. That's a true friend.
Just don't be making any bets after you had a few too many. Is all I have to. That's always my recommendation. Put the phone down.
That's happened.
It's happened. I think that's happened to most people. So, but just by now, it's just there's tomorrow. There's games tomorrow. Don't worry about it. If you lost, there's games tomorrow. Don't tilt. Don't go on tilt, please.
That's a great point. The other thing too that's come up, you and I might have talked about. We talk about live in-game betting, and this is more of me preaching from the pulpit as a dad. Not that my son gambles, but you know what I'm trying to say. When you do in-game betting, don't double up. And I just recently started hearing about this trend that you'll do I do 3, 4, 5%, which is what most professionals do, and that's of your bankroll. So if your 4% is $100, don't bet $100 pre-flop, and then see your team go down and say, "Screw it, I'm doubling up," and then they go down more, and that's a great line. I'm gonna put 400 on it. That is a short recipe for disaster. And the last thing you want to do with gambling is have a negative event that impacts your lifestyle, impacts, in a worst case scenario, being able to, handle the mortgage, your marriage. I mean, how many marriages have been ended because of stupidity like that? And it's just not worth it. It's very dangerous. So remember, with live betting, what I do, and I think what Kiev would agree with, and he probably does it himself, is 50% max pre-flop, and then you have 50% more to go over 2 bets or spread it out over 3. You never go over that 100% barrier, and you'll never run into that trouble of losing $1,200 on a $100 bet.
Yeah, just like 50% of your 3%, of your bankroll. If it's a 3-star bet,
Yep.
You could do that if you want to live bet it. If you don't have time to live bet and there are all these games go on, just do your 3 stars or 3%. You don't have to. There's only one team that's somewhat worth it to take the second half bet just blindly, and that's probably Gonzaga, because they were down to BYU, I believe, and I think they were down by like 10 at the half and won by like 15 or something. But the books know that people are going to bet the favorites at halftime if they're down, and it's juiced, and you're not getting value. I mean, it's just like, Penn State was favored by 10 and they're losing to Nebraska. I'm gonna lay the 5.5, 6 points at -120 here because I think that Penn State's going to win this game and still get closer to the spread. Don't think like that, because the books know you're thinking like that. As a matter of fact, there might be some better value on the other side. So remember that when you live bet.
Yeah, I agree 100%. The value is on the other side. And I noticed too, I use MGM for the live in-game, which I found to be the most efficient, the best. But a lot of times when I want to pull the trigger, like especially in the NBA, I like watching a 10-point run against me, and then I go in-game. But if it's -120, I don't pull the trigger because it's not wise. It's not a good investment. You can say I'm stubborn, but it's not a wise investment. So I actually look for the +100 opportunity, which you can get A lot of times, like Kiev says, you have a dog, the favorite just rips off 10 in a row. A lot of the public's going to think that, well, now the favorite's going to win. I better jump on it. And that's when you can get the really good price for your dog. So a couple scenarios there.
Yeah, you have to be 50, about 55% right all the time, which is the best sports bettors in the business over a lifetime at minus 120. So minus 115 is where I max it out personally. And I don't even like doing that, Look towards the other side sometimes, just catch yourself a little bit. If you're getting even money or some plus money, and it's close, it's almost a free roll.
Yep, I agree.
Did you fill out a bracket? Did you fill out a bracket, John?
I'm getting close. After all these shows today, I'm getting close. I have a final four if you want to know that.
Well, I'm guessing it's Wisconsin and who else?
Well, this is interesting now. I didn't even give that a thought. I have West Virginia.
Yeah, you shouldn't have given Wisconsin a thought. I was kidding. But
Arkansas.
Arkansas, okay. Wow, there you go. SEC love.
And this is where I haven't decided yet. I either have Alabama playing Gonzaga or I have Alabama playing Iowa. And now that you said that, I think I have to have Iowa because I need at least one big team represented no matter what.
So no number one seeds.
Well, in that case, there would be no number ones, which I don't know if that's happened more than like one time.
Well, if that happens, you're probably going to win.
Well, and you know what? To your point, that might be too much of an adjustment to get a bracket that nobody has.
Well, I think 10 of the last 13 winners were number one seeds. So that's definitely something to look at. Doesn't matter. I mean, once you fill it out, anything can happen. It's a game, right? There's going to be a team. There's going to be an upset. There's going to be a Cinderella, at least in the round of 32. There's going to be a massive upset, right? We've seen Baltimore, Maryland do it to number one Virginia. That's like Norfolk State or Appalachian State beating Gonzaga. It's just you can't predict it all. It might be the one you're not even thinking about. It could be Drexel beating Illinois or something, right? But don't get down on yourself. That's why you have some fun with this thing throughout the whole thing. Look at each game within its own unique basis, its own separate entity. And that's where you have fun sports betting, and it's not just about filling out brackets, it's about being right about what you're betting on. And if you're going to do any parlays in the long run don't make you any money. They lose money. But I mean, just time of year, it's fun. It's March Madness, right? We're sports bettors, right? So to have a separate little account that is fun money, and maybe throw a couple $10 to $50 parlays down, whatever you do, and that's kind of how I roll. And you know what? If you hit them, great. If not, who cares? You're putting more money on your games anyway. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, I can't agree more. I just thought of a fun story. My youngest of four is 21, so the two daughters are in the middle, and she was 5 when this occurred. It was the ESPN tournament. And I told her what it was all about, and we filled it out based on the mascot. She, by far, has the family record for the best bracket since then. And it was in the 99th percentile. If I remember right, it was the Pepperdine Wave that made it to the Elite Eight.
Wow.
It was one of those that was just crazy. And it was all based on no knowledge of basketball, obviously. And I would tell her the mascot, and she would pick.
Well, I mean, that happens, and I'm going to have my son fill out a bracket today. And, he doesn't know a lot. I'm going to tell him that it works because ones mean they're much better than 16. But I'm going to try to coax him into taking a few teams. We'll see. But I'm going to let him have the ultimate decision. I'll help him get to the Final Four, and then he's going to have to choose from them. And it's probably going to be something crazy, but I'm going to have a lot of fun with it. Get him some interest in college basketball, get him some interest in the NCAA tournament, and that's the exciting part about it.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. I mean, there's nothing more than that. Some of our guesses are going to be luckier than others. It doesn't mean you're smarter or dumber than anybody else.
Right.
It's all good. We
have some games tonight, buddy.
Yeah, you want to talk about a couple of those?
Well, yeah, I think we're on the opposite side of a game, and we should do that because we're not on the opposite side too often, John. And you like UCLA a little bit, and I like Michigan State a little bit. I want to hear what you have. I want to hear your handicap here on UCLA.
Oh, that's good. I'm going to bring up my notes here right now. Here they are. So UCLA is. I brought up the wrong page, Kiev. Let me give.
I can start.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let me. I already posted it, but I mean, look at what time of year it is, right? I mean, it's Izzo time, isn't it? And you think that Izzo's going to lose his first game if it's a playing game? Oh man, I mean, Michigan State's not the team that we expected. Of course, you know they're ranked much higher in the preseason, especially getting the Hausers, Joey Hauser over there, you know. But at the same time, man, I mean, look at UCLA and look what they've been through. They had 2 key injuries of starters, you know, throughout the season here. They could shoot, but this is the Pac-12 that they're in, man. A lot of people over the years have said that other conferences that were lower, like maybe the Atlantic 10 last year with Dayton, and maybe like the American Athletic Conference, Mountain West, could be better than the Pac-12. And I've never that much really disagreed with it. You know, the thing here is, you know, UCLA coming into this game, they're on like a 4-game losing streak here. It's not looking good. They do shoot better than Michigan State, but Michigan State's better rebounding team, 3.76 to 35.3 per game. Defensive efficiency, 34th on KenPom. UCLA's 85th. Both teams have the same assist to turnover ratio. UCLA coming in. Which coach are you going to take, Izzo or Cronin? It's an easy decision for me, and it's low enough to take. You know, I like taking favorites up to 2.5. When it's at 3, you start, you know, thinking a little bit more about it. But when you have a winner here, when the metrics match up, I like Michigan State, but I'm curious to hear what you have to say about UCLA.
Well, one of the red flags, Kiev, is that 73% of the bets and 77% of the money is on Michigan State. The line opened at 1, it's now 2.
77% of the money, so it's a little bit. If there's some sharp action on it, then if it's higher,
that's where they would say the Joes and the pros are on the same side.
Right.
In some of my analysis, I've actually gotten away from that because percentage is percentage, and I'm running tests periodically to see if there is any difference in trying to, you know, say the Joes are against the pros. So the line has had a lot of bets on Michigan State, but it's only gone up 1 point, and I would have thought with that kind of volume, that kind of number, it would be 3.5. So it does make me think that there might be pros against pros on this betting line, that there's some bigger money on UCLA coming in that has kept it from going to 3.5. But that's only the start of it. And as I told you before we came on the show, the first thought I had Sunday night, and I was on a Sunday night show of somebody else's, and the first thought I had was, why in the world is Michigan State playing in a playing game against UCLA? I mean, what is wrong with that? Look at Syracuse, 11 seed. They're the ones that should be in there instead of
Duke
Michigan
and Kentucky.
State.
Duke and Kentucky's not even in it. Come on, man. This is 2020/21.
Yep. And that's exactly how I thought about it. And then I ran some of my machine learning stuff, and then lo and behold, you know, I'm putting out a 3%er that is listed as a free pick at sportsmemo.com and wagertalk.com. You can read it. But it does go to my my paying clients too. So granted, I'm a little nervous on this because inherently I agree with everything you said, but with the way the betting flows have gone, and the other stuff here, let me just switch back over. At the time I wrote this, currently 77% of the bets made are on Michigan State, but 52% of the money. So the money's come up on Michigan State, but the line hasn't moved. Michigan State is 5-19 on the road or a neutral court setting when playing a team with a winning record over the last 2 seasons. 4-14 against the spread road neutral court setting, facing an opponent that is outscoring opponents by at least 4 or more points per game. 0-7 Kiev against the spread this season away from home, and following 5 consecutive games where their opponent committed 14 or fewer turnovers. Then, from the machine learning applications, we are enlightened that Michigan State is 2-11 in games when they attempted 55 to 65 shots this season, 18-61 against the spread in games played, and allowing 75 to 81 points in games played over the last 15 seasons. I rest my case.
Well, they're in the Big Ten. they're in the Big Ten. Who can, I mean, of course, they're going to have to put up a lot of shots. If you play against all awesome teams, what else are you supposed to do, man? You know, and that's why, you know, I kind of have to question trends a lot. You know, it's like if you're playing against awesome teams and you're playing, like, for example, a Eastern Washington that just dominates their conference, are you just going to bet Eastern Washington because their trends look better? I'm sure Eastern Washington is a great ATS team right now, but what if they're listed as pick'em against, somebody that's, just 500 in their division? That's where, I look into this, but I will agree with you that I am worried that it didn't hit 3. That's the same thing with Western Kentucky's game last night. And I did put a play on Western Kentucky, thank goodness, because I lost on the under, but, it's like people were betting St. Mary's and it never got to 3. And I scratched my head too. Maybe it's because UCLA is close to, Vegas. There's always big UCLA money coming in. And it's not showing as the money because the money still shows on Michigan State, but not everything we get is accurate because a lot of these places pull from different places. It could be the book saying we're not going to go to 3 because we're going to make money off you Michigan State bettors. Books will do that every once in a while. They'll think that they're on the right side here anyway. I don't know. And so there's a little bit of gambling when it comes to the books when they make these lines. If they're not moving it to 3, there's a reason. So that does concern me. That's why it's not a big play for me. I think it's just a smaller 2-star play for me on Michigan State, but it's the first game. And if Izzo loses, I'm not going to feel bad for betting on Izzo. No way. So I think metrically what I went over with their defense, with the rebounding, with the fact they're in a tougher conference and the better coach, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I can't dispute Izzo. That's one that was sticking in my head, that I'm going against a proven veteran, high percentage winning coach in a tournament.
Yeah, you are.
And I definitely, I know I haven't had any IPAs yet.
I like Cronin. I do, but I'm not sure if he's ready for this yet. Maybe give him a year. I think UCLA would be a really good, team possibly to be on next year. But they had those 2 injuries. Michigan State's a little bit deeper. They do have some seniors there in Langford, and Langford didn't turn out as good as I thought he would be. But Gabe Brown's there, and Joey Hauser's got to hit some shots at some point, kid. Play like you did a couple years back at Marquette, and I think they get through here. I don't think they're getting far in the NCAA tournament, but I think they get past this one.
I just pulled up our buddy Eric Haslam. And by the way, that was a great show you had with him the other week. That was awesome. So I encourage everybody to go to haslammetrics.com. It's a tremendous site. The only reason you wouldn't like it is if you don't like data. And obviously Kiev and I, Kyle Hunter, we all love data. We can't get enough of it. And he provides stuff for free that is just off the charts good. Now, I will say this. Eric is on my side. He has UCLA 67-66.
Ooh. So Ken Palm's on your side too, by 1 point.
Well, with all due respect, I don't know if that's a good thing or not. But
is the ratings right about the Pac-12? I mean, in these sites, you have Memphis as the number 2 defense in the whole league. Do you on both Ken Palm, and do you believe that?
No.
I mean, there's problems with this. Wisconsin's the number 10 team in the league. No. I mean, I love my Badgers, but I'll tell you right now, if you're filling them out to get into the Final Four, the final game, you might as well just throw your bracket in the fire. right now because they're so inconsistent. They'll be lucky to get past North Carolina before they get destroyed by Baylor. And it sucks to say that, but this Badger team is just something's wrong with them. But at the same time, I think it was really interesting why, they did have UCLA favored and why you like them. And I wanted to hear some of that. But at the same time, if Michigan State loses, I'm fine. I'm excited for the whole tournament here. I'm excited for all the plays that we have for tomorrow. And we're doing a free bracket challenge over at theoddsbreakers.com too. We're giving away $500 for free. Just check it out. Go to theoddsbreakers.com. All you have to do is retweet the podcast, send a snapshot, or write a 5-star review. Send it to admin at the Oddsbreakers, and you're in for free. We're giving away the money. So no buy-in bracket. I mean, nothing wrong with that, right?
That's perfect. I gave that an endorsement, so hopefully you'll get a ton of people doing that, and that would be fun. As a professional, Kiev, I will restrain myself from entering the contest unless you're playing.
Oh no, I'm playing, but if I win, I'm not giving away. I'm not keeping money. I'll just give it to second, third. For
yeah.
That's what I'll be doing. I wouldn't keep it, but
okay.
Yeah, play, get in. It's up to you.
And put me down for the same thing. If I get lucky, it'd be more fun if I was in the bottom 5 and people would say, "Oh my God, that's a pro." That to me would be hysterical.
No, man, and that's why
I'll do the same thing.
Pros lose and stuff, and then they destroy in others. It's not like pros are betting. Like they could have Gonzaga win it all, and they might bet against Gonzaga because the line gets played every game, make a ton of money paying Gonzaga, and then they could still win or lose. That just depends. I mean, a lot of people are picking Gonzaga. I think Illinois is the other favorite darling. I didn't look at the percentages yet. But today's the day for, I got through most of these games from a handicapping perspective. And today's the day that I'm going to be just more kind of filling out a couple brackets. I have the one I stand by with my Final Four, which is Gonzaga, Baylor, Florida State, and Oklahoma State. So 2 4 seeds and 2 1 seeds is what I'm going with. And Illinois has got a tough bracket, and a couple other, I'll fill out another bracket that'll have Illinois winning it and Oklahoma State winning it and stuff like that. So the one I put my heart by is the 2 4s and the 2 1s though.
Yeah. I'll tell you, that Creighton team, if they come up against Gonzaga, that's another one that could be news headlines.
A lot of people are picking UC Santa Barbara, right? And I believe that's the team that's playing Creighton. And it was just off the top of my head. I don't know why. I mean, I kind of hope that public dog keeps rolling because I'll bet Creighton if that's the case. You were right, by the way. Though you were right about Creighton that last show we were on. I did have UConn. You had Creighton. So congrats on that one. And Creighton. Then they just couldn't score against Georgetown somehow, and Georgetown wins, which was very surprising to people. Stealing bids. Them and Oregon State stole some bids, right? But Creighton could be dangerous. I think that whole McDermott thing is overblown. I think the kids want to show what they got. Kids want to play basketball. So I'll be on Creighton probably is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I guess I know you have to get going here, so we'll put a little ribbon on this thing. Everybody talks about the 12-5 being the upset. I think it's run its course statistically. I see more upsets happening in the 11-6 slot there. Syracuse, San Diego State might be the exception, but think about it. Syracuse, when they get in and everybody says they shouldn't have been in, why the hell are they in? Boeheim usually gets to the Sweet 16. I mean, it's as simple as that.
Yeah, it's true.
And then you have what's the other one here? The playing game. This is delightful. Wichita State, Drake. I don't care who wins that game. I think they beat USC. I'll say it right now. So there you go. That's one right there.
Ooh.
And then another playing game, Michigan State, UCLA against BYU. Why is BYU a 6? I have no clue why BYU is a 6.
Because last year they were great last year, but they couldn't play. I was wondering that as well. So I think that BYU being the 6 is silly, but I actually think that Michigan State, UCLA should pass them up as well and get to the Sweet 16, or get to the next round of 32.
And then the last one is Utah State, Texas Tech. That one, maybe not so obvious with an upset, but Unfortunately, the public will be on Utah State, and that will put guys like you and me looking at Texas Tech. But I think you'll have two upsets in that matchup of 11-6.
I don't disagree.
So I'll make sure I fill out my bracket, and everybody else should do the same. And if I win, we'll donate it to a charity or something, or we just won't take any money. Or oh no, we'll donate it to second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever.
Whatever you decide, buddy. It's all on you.
Yeah, I'll do the same thing as you. That'll be fun just to be part of it. So nothing else. I'm sure we'll be, chatting and texting over the next several days, Kiev. I really appreciate you being on the show. It's awesome, and I just can't wait for this thing to start.
All right, man.
Cannot wait.
Me too. Make sure you have a beer for your birthday tonight, John. I hope you get some winners tonight, even if that UCLA one doesn't come through. Hope you get some other. Wink, wink. I hope you get some other ones, man. Have a great rest of your night, and we'll be texting throughout the week.
Yeah, you got it. So for the Predictive Playbook, I am John Ryan, and may all the wins be yours.
Thank you, everyone.